All right. So in this call, we're going to do an SEO breakdown, and we're going to make an SEO audit for Josh to perform on a client website. And if you're watching this, maybe you're performing an SEO audit too. So stay tuned. Okay, so Josh, at this point, you've been doing blogs. You do excellent on blogs. Okay, so when we're talking about SEO, you actually already know half of it. Okay, so the first half is, I'm going to bring that down. I'm going to go up just a little bit. The first half of search engine optimization is called on-page SEO. And that's the type of stuff you're doing on blogs. And we'll get into that and we'll talk through that. The second half is technical SEO. And I'm obviously much more practiced in on-page, given that we really do a lot of blogs. But technical SEO is not terribly difficult either.
Is technical SEO the same as off-page SEO, or is that different?
Same thing.
Okay.
As far as I know, those are the same thing. So on-page SEO is easy. So firstly, what search engine optimization? We're optimizing the website for search engines. What the heck does that mean? SEO, to give you the most simple version, is just like a blog is going to talk to a person. The blog has to talk to a search engine. It has to talk to Google. So when we write on the internet, it's harder than writing a book because a book just talks to the reader. When we do web pages and web design and search engine design, or landing page design and blogs, we are designing the system to talk to both people in a way they like and understand, and search engines in a way they like and understand. So we're communicating with two audiences in the same time. And so, as you know, when you write the blogs, you're breaking that text up so people, don't think it's this big wall of text. That's readability for people. You're putting pictures in there because it helps people to get a rest, because they're not used to reading maybe like they used to, and they're resting. You're giving them a little context. We're helping them to scroll more quickly. We have widgets on the page like schedule today, and it's an interactive element. We've got buttons that are super bright orange. So it's all designed for usability for the person so they can understand. We're using small words. I'm not using, anti-disestablishmentarianism in there because that would just immediately shut them down and they'd be gone. So we're writing for people. But for on-page SEO, Google wants to see the keyword. And I actually just read an article yesterday from Search Engine Journal. And basically, Google does not have the resources to read every single word on the page. So it's probably not going to do that. But it's going to break down. And have we talked about the HTML in the page? We've kind of broken down coding.
Yeah.
So the HTML on the page is the structure of the page. And for anybody watching this, there's 3 code languages that your web pages are built with. HTML is the most basic one. And literally, it just says like header. And then whatever text is in there is what's in the header of the page, the top of the page. Then it says body. And here's some text, normal text, and then there's like a bulleted list, and then right. So it's just super, super basic structure. You can literally learn HTML code in like an hour or 2. I recommend you do that. That said, Google is just going to look at the HTML code and see what's the URL. What's the URL of this page? And is there a keyword in there? What is the H1 header? So in the HTML, there are 8 headers: header 1, header 2, header 3, header 4. If you're in Google Docs, that's what you see, because you're telling Google Docs what to put in that code. Header 1 is the most important header. That's what we would call like the title on the newspaper. That's a header 1. That's why it's called header 1. So a lot of the stuff got pulled from former media, and header 1 is the newspaper header, as far as I understand. So header 1 is the most important words on the page. So Google's algorithm or spider bots are going to crawl that first, and they're going to look to see if there's something that resembles a keyword in there. And then it's going to do your header 2s, then your header 3s, then your header 4. So it's going to scan in decreasing priority. So we want to make sure, and we really only do header 2s and 3s in blogs just because it gets so complicated after that. We want to make sure we've got our URL keyword targeted. We want to make sure that our headers 1s, 2s, and 3s are keyword targeted. And, not every single one. We don't want to be keyword stuffing, but we want to have 1 to 2% keyword density. So 1 out of every 100 words 2 out of every 100 words is a keyword. So to that end, we want to make sure we're doing that. The keyword also needs to be in the first 100 words of the blog. Google's going to scan that first sentence, and you notice that's also the snippet they put on Google if you don't write your own meta description. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
So they automatically just use that. Okay, so then we want keyword in meta title, probably 2 keywords in the meta description, and that is the title and description that faces Google. So that's also on page because we're editing all that on page. We also want to make sure that the meta title is exactly the same as the blog title. A couple months ago, maybe like right before you came in, Josh, the website had gone up and then came back down in terms of traffic and impressions. And Michael and I were like, what is happening? We were rocking it. And then we had been editing the meta titles to try to increase click-through rate, but we weren't editing the titles. So the titles were different than the meta titles. And so we're saying one thing on Google, but when they come to the page, the title's different. And it wasn't even that different. We were just, putting in like a powerful, supernatural, like we were just changing the emotion words and testing the stuff. Do we do the year in brackets or curly brackets or no year? And so we're just playing with some things, but Google sees that as manipulative. And so it actually de-ranked us, it appears, then ranked us. And so we switched. That was one of the things we changed. And immediately we started seeing that we were getting more and more and more. So the meta title, exactly the same as the title. So if you're optimizing the meta title for your click-through rates, then you need to change the title with it. And that's not necessarily bad. Just don't change the URL. And if anybody's watching this, rule 2 of web design, don't change the URL. Super important. So to that, and you can change the title, you can change the meta title, but we want them keyword targeted and they need to be the same. That is an SEO ranking factor. Beyond that, we need internal links within the website. Okay. And so I'm pretty sure we have talked about topical authority. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. So when we're talking about topical authority, and that'll be another training for anybody watching this, when we talk about interlinking the blogs between each other, we want to interlink within the topic group. So if we've got church growth and we've got 10 blogs on that, we want to interlink within those. If we've got a church marketing subtopic, we want to interlink within those. And Google begins to see that topic of blogs as one organism, so to speak, or one entity, because it's following the links around and it's like, oh, these are all talking about the same thing. And then they all link up to the sales page like, oh, do you need a church growth consultant? And they all link to that one. So Google's like, got it. This whole thing, all these 10, 20 blogs are about church growth. They answer all the questions. They all point to the sales page for church consulting, church growth consulting. And that's the most important page. And we're going to promote that even more. So that's talking to Google, the internal links. And we want at least 2 internal links, but if it's, like a 2,000 word, but let's say 1 internal link per 1,000 words. So, you get 5,000 words, you can probably have 5 internal links. It's not a big deal. Something like that, somewhere around there. External links is an on-page SEO factor where Google basically wants to see that you're not just hoarding traffic and not sharing anything with anyone that's relevant. So in regard to external links with ClickMill, don't send traffic over to other marketing firms that are our direct competition. It's like, if you like this blog on SEO, you should check out Scorpion Marketing's blog on SEO and then go send them our business. Like that, don't do that. But if we're talking about a book on church growth and it's on Amazon, it's like, hey, if you like this book, go check it out on Amazon. And if that ever gets enough clicks, we can make it an affiliate link and make 3% on it or something. If it's like My Hawaiian Adventure site and we're talking about getting like best waterfalls in Waikiki, or what am I saying? Best waterfalls in North Shore. There's no waterfalls in Waikiki. And then it's like, I don't know, Monowili Falls. Well, just put a Google Maps direction on there. You just put the Google Maps link in there. They click on it, take some directions. That's an external link. And that's really valuable for the user because now they don't got to go do another Google search and hunt down and try to remember how to spell Monowili. Nobody knows how to spell that except for you and me, Anyway, so to that end, we want to do external links. And so Google's looking for that. Additionally to that, Google is going to be looking for interactive elements. Is there a calendar that people are actually taking action on if they can track it? Or do people comment? And if they do, are you getting reply comments? Because Google sees that as good customer service. That's also true for SEO and like Google My Business. If people are commenting and you're replying, even Google will give you a higher ranking, even if you get bad reviews a lot of the time, as long as you're responding to the reviews, because they're like, look, good customer service. Let's just keep flowing the traffic over to them. So that is the broad gist of on-page SEO. Do you have any questions about that before we get into technical? Because I think that's where we're going to have a lot of the learning.
No, that makes sense.
Okay, so we're going to get into ClickMill, and I'm going to get a little bit more in depth with technical, and then I'm going to make you an account over on Williamsburg Christian Academy. We're going to make a checklist for you to run through, and you can train this in the future. You can, we can just use this. So I'm gonna, I'm already filming, right?
Yeah, you're filming.
Okay, cool. I don't know what I'm doing. There we go. Okay. So here we are. We're over at ClickMill. Okay. So what I'm going to do is we're going to do some on-page audits here. There we go. Okay. So first things first, one of the most important on-page features that I'm aware of is page load speed. Okay. And there's a number of ways we can speed up page load speed, and we're going to look at those. But first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up developer tools. Have you seen developer tools in here when we inspect the page?
I don't think so. I may have, maybe I'm just didn't know the name.
Okay. So this is this is what most people see, and they freak out and they think they're going to break their website or something. You can't change any of this stuff. This just shows you the code that makes the page. And you'll notice also, can you see doc type HTML?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is how the internet functions. This is an HTML, hypertext markup language. That's what it stands for. I'm surprised I remember that. But you'll see language is NUS, meaning English, United States English. Okay. And then look, here is our markup language, header. And then everything in here, the ... all that's the header. So if I break that out, it shows you all the code and all the CSS and all the JavaScript in our header. Well, I don't want to look at that. Body. Here's the body of the page. And so this shows you all the code in the body of the page. And coming down way to the bottom, wherever, we'll see footer. And that is basically body. Well, there's no footer. Footer is actually in a custom template somewhere else. Anyway, and then you'll notice hash HTML. So the document is now closed. And this is what the internet reads to make the images on the screen. So, and one of the reasons why this is important in marketing is because we're not coders. We don't really need to know how to do code. It's important to be able to get the gist. So knowing HTML is great. You don't have to be able to code a page. Coding a page in HTML looks terrible. So it's not useful in any way to know, like, I know every single thing about HTML. However, knowing the structure of it's very helpful. So you know where you're navigating within the code. Understanding some CSS is also fairly useful because you can actually know the web design tools like Elementor when it says like font weight. Have you seen that in there by chance?
Nope. No, I haven't seen it.
That's okay. We'll get more into edit. By the way, we've got a couple trainings on WordPress and Elementor, and I want you to watch those in the YouTube channel. Okay. Because cool. I'd like to expand you out into some more of this stuff. Sure. Anyway, to that end, so this is in the back end of the code. One of the reasons this is important is because, and we've done a little bit of conversion tracking training, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So for example, if I inspect this button because I want to track every single person who ever clicks on this, or for even better, this button, which we're testing, join our 1-hour church growth training. We're going to right click, inspect, and it's going to identify the code snippet. And you'll notice here, whatever is in here is what the button is. And you'll notice, here we go, class equals this is CSS, by the way. This is design. So the button class is Elementor text join the training. So that is the text. If I was going to track that button, I would say button text equals join the training. And I would put that into Google Tag Manager, and then I'd be able to track that button. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's different. Sometimes there's other things in there, you know, whatever. So sometimes you'll see like the button ID or the click text or the button class or whatever. And so you go in and you configure your conversion to track this stuff. So this is another reason developer tools is important. But to that end, we're not really concerned with that. I'm going to exit this, kind of get us a refresh here. The thing that's important for the technical SEO is general website load speed. Okay, so we're going to test that right now. Performance Insights is where we're going to go. Okay, and you'll notice measure page load. Yes, we're going to measure page load. We're going to let it load. Now, this is funny because I've used all of these page load tools, and you go to Google and you look up page load speed tester, and most of them are going to try to charge you money they're like, all right, now pay us $19.99 a month. And all they do is access this tool and then give you the results because you don't know how to do it. It's incredible.
Dang, that's wild. I didn't. That's crazy.
It's so funny. Anyway, to that end. Okay, so what you'll see here, and this is actually problematic because I had this down to 0.4 seconds recently, and it's 2.16 seconds for what's called the first content paint. This is when the website is interactive. So Google's interested to know how long does it take for the website to become interactive so that a guest can start doing stuff. And if you're over 2 seconds, which this is over 2 seconds, you're going to lose basically 50% of your audience over 2 seconds is what the data is saying. So you get past 2 seconds and you had 100 clicks on your website, you're down to 50. So the lower you can get this number is better. Now, it's saying, not so good on your first content paint. You need to drop that down. Well, we're going to give that a shot. Largest content paint is only 2.3 seconds. So from the first content paint to kind of finishing that full load is a very small gap. And it's saying the largest content paint's great. This is still fairly quick, but I think we can get it more quick, more faster. What am I saying? So, it's saying that the layout shift as the layout moves around and things load. It's taking an additional 0.07 seconds, which is very small. Content loading, whatever DOM is, I'm not 100% sure what that is, but 3.2 seconds in there. And something tells me that's after the finishing of the page. That's not terribly important, but whatever. Anyway, so we could speed this up a little bit. And again, 2 seconds, being under 2 seconds is what's important. So step one, maybe you can write this down as we go through and then we can make this toward the end of the call. Step one is page load speed. Well, actually, step one is going to be the on-page stuff. You're going to review their website, see if they have any kind of, keywords, if they're keyword targeting stuff, if they're using URLs with keywords in them, all of the stuff you already know. We're just going to do that for every page, including the sales pages. Okay. Does that make sense so far?
Yep. I'm just writing it down.
For technical, if we're doing like a legit audit, for technical, that first content paint needs to be under 2 seconds. Okay. Right. And that's a selling point right there. Like if we just did this page load speed and say, hey, look, guys, over there at, let's say just Williamsburg's Christian Academy, look, guys, I'm doing a page load speed over here on your website. You can see that on the left side. Look, your website's taking 7 seconds to load. Did you know that if your website takes over 2 seconds to load, you're losing 50% of your audience right there? So you got all these new parents coming to your website. I don't know who that is. You got all these new parents coming to your website and at 2 seconds, you're losing 50% of them. You're at 7 seconds. There's nobody coming into your website. So you figure out like, what do you got? You got 500, you got 1,000 people coming into your website a month. It's probably supposed to be like 5,000, Oh my gosh. Yeah. Like you need us to come and fix this for you. So anyway, selling point there. Anyway, so how do we speed this up? Okay, so couple ways. Okay, so the first thing we can do is what's called a CDN. And oops, we're going to get out of that. I'm going to show you a CDN, just an image, so we can kind of see what this does. Okay, so when, for example, over here, oh, it always does that. We'll go that way. There we go. Okay. So when you load a website, the device you're accessing has to access the server that site is stored on. So, if I'm, I don't know, in Kansas, right here where the server is, and I access that server, my device is accessing a server that's, within 100 miles of me, and it's basically instantaneous connection because those electrons flow through the wire so fast. It's, it's super convenient. But if my site is stored in Kansas, and let's say Michael over here, in Kenya wants to connect, well, he has to wait for the electrons in the wires to go under the Pacific Ocean. And that is going to take a second or two. It's still fast, but 2 seconds, you're losing 50% of your audience. So you do not want to wait that long. So what a CDN does is it takes a copy of your website or a cache of your website, and it copies it over here. So you've got servers all over the world with your CDN, and they just have server space all over, and they copy a little version of your website, over here in, I don't know, Canada and North Africa and South Africa and South America and Asia. And so the people accessing, say, in Russia, they get the fast loaded version, the copy of your website. And then as they're on the website, the server will connect with the US server and update what's on the page. So they get the first content paint very quickly. And then after that, they get the full updated everything, shortly after that. And then, of course, the server will update your website every so often. And I have no idea how often that is, but, I don't know, maybe once a day or something. So they always have an updated enough version that it's fully functional. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's called a CDN. That's a content delivery network. And you'll see, obviously, all of these additional servers are the delivery network, and it cuts down on the load speed of your website. So we have a CDN on our website, and it cut down on the load speed a little bit.
Does that, so that doesn't come with like a domain? So if you buy like a WordPress or a domain or whatever, it's not automatically.
So we'll go into the back end and I'll show you. Okay, so this is a little bit more advanced WordPress training because I want you to watch the WordPress intro to WordPress. So, you probably already know most of these tabs, but watch that. Watch the Elementor introduction to Elementor training. I think we have that on there now. If not, we'll have to film one. Anyway, it's a little bit more advanced. WP Engine is our server, and we have a custom server. We pay a little bit more for a better server. I used to be with like HostGator, and it's just slow. And at this point, it's worth it to pay a little bit more to get a good server. That said, when you purchase a server, okay, and let's talk more about that because these words are a little crazy. And I'll put it in church marketing language so you can use this later if you're ever working with your church, because they don't understand what the digital world is like, mysterious and foggy, and we don't really know what stuff does. Okay, it's exactly like a physical location, almost identically. You have a church building and you have a digital church building. Your church building is your building. Your digital church building is your website. Easy, right? You also have a property, right? The land that the church is on, that's your property. The server space that your website is built in, right, that holds your website, that's the website property, right? You also have an address. You've got 1234, Fettle Lane for your church, and then you've got an IP address. That is your delivery address on the internet. Same thing. So let me think if there's anything else in that analogy. I think there's one more thing I'm forgetting. We'll get to it if it comes up. Anyway, so to that end, when you get server space, you're buying a physical location somewhere where your digital church, your website, is housed, right? And this is the addition. The homepage of the website is the front door to your church. It's the same thing. Because if you look at the analytic data, in the vast majority of cases, 95% of website visitors are new users to the homepage, right? So we want to make the homepage friendly to new users, not alumni, not parents, like, no, these are people who've never heard of you. They're not categorized in some area. Stop asking them to give you money. They don't know who you are. This is weird. So to that end, in the same way, you're not going to hold a tithe bucket out to new people walking through the front door of a church. Don't put a give button on your homepage. It is the front door. So we want to get, we want to get tithes later, but it's not relevant now. So that said, so we've got WP Engine. So this is our server, and that is our property. So our website is built on the server space, the memory space of WP Engine, and it gives us one place in one server in one place in the world. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. So if I want it cached somewhere else, if I want to have it in more places, it actually does. If I call them, they will give me a CDN, and that's great. I did call them. They can do that. I actually already have a CDN and I like it. So we just kept that one. But we're going to go to plugins, and I'm going to show you this other plugin. Okay. And we're going to talk about some more technical SEO situations here. And this is WP Rocket. Oh, let's update that. Now, talking about web design, I'm breaking a rule here. Don't update things on the website because I'll know if I break something, but you really need to back up the website before you do these, because a lot of times with new codes come code conflicts, the new updated codes, and then the whole website crashes. And I'm just risking it here. So no thanks. I already did it. It's going to update our WP Rocket here. And anytime we make a change on the website, we want to make sure the website still exists. Okay. So I literally just did that. I do this every single time, because if I did crash the site, I don't want to make 20 other changes and then have to guess, work for 2 days on the website and then have to guess which change broke it and then delete them all and start fresh. You're like, that'd be crazy. All right. So website works fine. Any questions on any of that before we keep going?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So here we go. Okay. So I updated that. We're going to go to settings. So you activate and deactivate plugins. I don't keep deactivated plugins, so it shouldn't have any of them. They'll be white if they're not active, and they're all active. So this is all our plugins. One of the ways to speed up a website is to have less plugins, because plugins are heavy. They're JavaScript. You don't want them loading. So if you don't need it, you want all the plugins you absolutely need and no more, right? So we have all the plugins we need and we don't have any more. So we don't need to deactivate it. I don't need support. I don't know what documentation is. Frequently asked questions. We're just going to go to settings. Okay. So once we're in here, we're going to look at this. So firstly, you'll see CDN right here. And CDN names specify the C names below. Okay, well, sure. I don't know. It put in whatever needs to be. I didn't even do that, but it's in there. So enable content delivery network, check. And it's done. I mean, that's the CDN is set up and we're now pushing it out. All right. So that's the CDN setup. There's not really anything else to say about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So, okay. So you always do that through whoever you're hosting through. So whether it be WP Engine, HostGator.
So this is not through WP Engine. This is an additional plugin called WP.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you just said that.
Now, WP Engine does have a CDN option, but I just chose to use this plugin because I have the control. Sometimes with, like your what's called your secure socket layer, your SSL, HTTPS. The S stands for secure socket layer encryption. It's like you call them and they're like, oh yeah, well, turn it on for free. And then it turns off after 6 months. And so then it jacks up all your URLs. It's like,
gotcha.
Why do I got to call you? 6 months? I don't
want is this plugin free or do you have to pay for this?
It has a free version. We pay for it because it's very valuable.
So if you were to go on somebody's website, a potential client's website, and you wanted to put a CDN on their website, would you how would you go about that? Would you do it through your own subscription stuff, or would you?
It depends. Probably the way I'm moving, and we just did this with Williamsburg. I just paid for Elementor and put it on their site. It's my account. It comes out of their marketing expenses. They give us every single marketing dollar they have. And so I just pay for anything we need, right? And that also cuts down on complexity because I just have a marketing firm account and I have, however many subscriptions I need. And I just, sure, I can hand them off if they ever decide not to be with us or just close them, but I don't have to go through them to set stuff up because they're slow, super slow all the time.
Yeah.
That's just how clients go because they got stuff going on and they don't like marketing. That's why they hired us. So yeah, so I would probably just do it through our side and say, oh, it's all included. And they're going to go, wow, that's a super deal. I don't even have to think about it. So that's the way I'm trending. And that's the way most of the marketing firms I'm aware of do that, in including my mentor's marketing firm. So just so you know. So that's the first one. Next one is going to be SEMrush. And I'm going to show you this. Okay, this is the next thing you can do for technical SEO. Is you want to compress images. And when we're doing blogs, we want to make sure those images are not full high def. Like, yeah, maybe the blog banner at the top, that can be high def because it actually spreads across the whole page. That's fine. But for the rest of all of those images on the blog, you do not want those high def. Those need to be like 600 by 400 at the biggest, which is the smallest that comes off of those image sites, right? And if you're watching this video, we only use royalty-free images through, say, Pexels or Unsplash that say free to use. You will absolutely get tracked down. We had this happen a couple of years ago. You will get tracked down and they will fine you like you wouldn't believe. We got charged $500 a picture for 2 pictures. And we only used them for like 2 months. So you could buy a picture for like $10. Or they'll turn around and they'll fine you for using it for free for like 500. It's insane. They're operating legally and they are basically like legal scam artists. It's the worst thing ever. So don't ever use pictures you don't have licenses to or that are not royalty free. That is a major mistake. And that you do that bad enough. I know marketing. I know a Christian website right now that's got like thousands of images on it, at least hundreds, if not over 1,000 images on there that are not paid for. And I've told them, you got to get these off of here. And they're just like, it's going to take too long. I'm like, oh, you're crazy. Anyway, to that end, coming here, dashboard. So this compresses the images down even smaller. So this says, let's go with bulk SEMrush. You have 5 images that need compressing. Let's just look at this. Usually it'll just do it automatically. These are probably not going to work, but let's see here. Images resized 113, images smushed 5,343. All right, so the images through our site, I don't even know how we have that many images, but to that end, total savings, it saved us 50% of the image space. So that's awesome. So what happens is it, when the page loads, the optimized image pops up first, and then it kind of scales as the page continues to load. So it accesses that higher quality resolution after the page begins to load. Let me see. I don't know why. Okay, anyway. So automatic compression, it's on. Super SEMrush my images. So it compresses it 2 times as much. Image resizing, it'll resize images max width of 1920 by 1080. So it's going to limit the size of those. So for example, if I have an image on the website that's like 4K, it's automatically going to scale it down. And that's okay. Original images, it's going to compress original images and back up original images for me. So this is a great tool because it's going to take, oh, here we go. Okay, so it's having issues with these specific images. And frankly, I don't really care about 5 images. One of them we don't even use anymore. So anyway, to that end, though, that's what SEMrush does. It compresses the images so that the bandwidth, we can load those pages faster. It takes less bandwidth. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, so that's SEMrush. That's basically all that does. Another thing we want to do, actually, this is also under SEMrush. You can see they also have a CDN. I don't use their CDN, but lazy load. This is a really valuable, and you'll notice it looks like we do have it on through SEMrush. There we go. Okay, so lazy load is what happens. So there are all kinds of strategies on how to load a page so that you get that first content paint faster. So for instance, images, if they're lazy loaded, are only shown and loaded first if they are directly on the screen. And even when they're directly on the screen, they're loaded last. That's why it's called lazy, because they come last. So it won't load any of the images until, for the, let's say the blog, right? Anything below the top of the screen, those images won't even be loaded until they scroll down. Right. So when they hover over it, you'll notice like the image pops up like really fast, but you still notice it. That's a lazy load. Okay. And so it allows us to get that first content paint very quickly. And the servers are not being pushed for all these images at the same time. Now, the images that are on your screen are still loaded last, but you know, it's usually fairly quick. So where lazy loading JPEGs, PNGs, webs, GIFs, SVGs, iframes, which is good. Iframe is YouTube videos. What is that? Canva calendars. That's an iframe. So these are websites within a website. So it's lazy loading all this JavaScript stuff, which is very heavy. And that takes a lot. That the interactive elements are the heaviest in code. And so those take the longest. So that's great. Output locations, content, widgets, posts, thumbnails, gravatars, okay, whatever. Display an animation on the lazy load fade in. So instead of just like blink, right, it fades in. So it looks, you know, it looks purposeful. Okay. Looks like a design element, and they don't really realize it's not loading quickly. And then include and exclude front page, blog pages, posts, archives, categories, tags, landing pages, my temp. So it's just going to do lazy load on everything. So the only exceptions here are courses, and that's fine because it's not really relevant to this. We have MemberPress over here, which is a course creation plugin, and we have a couple courses in there. At some point, I would like to expand a complete training for ministry leaders. The video editing takes forever though. So anyway, that is lazy loading. Any questions on lazy loading?
Nope, that makes sense.
Okay. So that is another strategy to speed up the page speed. And that is, you know, that is a very effective strategy. When I started learning this stuff, and this is something you can do, if you ever have, like, for example, WP Engine or HostGator or Bluehost or whoever it is used for hosting, I recommend WP Engine. Just call them and just chat with them. They can't hang up, and they're the biggest nerds you've ever met in your whole life. It's great. And I'm saying that I'm a nerd, so I can say that. But they speak a different language, and you just go, I don't know what that means. Tell me what that means. And then they'll say some other thing that you don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. Can you explain that to me? And you can get a whole education just sitting on the phone talking to your, you know, and it's just some dude chilling in his office at home, and, you know, he's not in a hurry. And you just hit it just like you and me, you know, like we're just hitting it off. Just call him up and just chat about like, well, how do you make your website go faster? And anyways, that's what I did. I spent a couple hours on the phone with one of these guys. Super, super cool. And this is how I learned all this stuff. ClickMill's website was loading in 7 to like 8 seconds, which is super slow, super slow. And he turned me on to WP Rocket. He's like, no, you've got to do this. And so this is how I learned all this stuff. But to that end, let's go back to WP Rocket, because this is where we're going to get into the next thing. And this was a big turning point. After I did this, we saw a lot of increases in our website traffic. So go back to tools. Nope, plugins, excuse me. There we go. And SiteKit, Smush. There we go. Settings, back into WP Rocket. Okay, so this is called file optimization. Very brilliant. I don't know who came up with this over there, but super smart move. So when your browser, okay, so your browser, Google Chrome, Firefox, Safari, whatever it is you use, the browser is just a program that accesses HTML files, right? So it connects to the internet, it accesses an HTML file, and it shows you what's in it visually. That's all it does. Well, there are a whole bunch of files when you load a web page. There are HTML files for, HTML files for header, HTML file for body, a whole bunch of HTML files in the body, most likely, HTML files for footers. You've got CSS design files. You've got JavaScript files. Every single element of the page basically has a file. So what happens is your browser is opening file, reading, closing, opening, reading, closing, opening, reading, closing. And that opening and closing actually takes a good chunk of time. So when I actually enabled these settings, because what this does, go backwards, it saved a lot of time. That said, what these do is they take all the code out of all the files, delete all the files, and then put all the code in one file. So there's no opening and closing anymore. So the first thing is it says minify CSS files. So what it does is it removes white space and comments to reduce the file size. So now the browser has less white space and file size to figure out what's saying. And then it says combine the CSS files, which is what I just told you, into one file. So we've got that selected. Now, this is a program that's changing the code of your website. And so this can be dangerous. And we actually just did recently have a code conflict on the website, and a whole banner freaked out and exploded, basically. And I was like, oh my gosh, why is this banner? It took me days to design this banner because I could not.
Oh, you're talking about that banner for the.
This is why. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I remember it having problems and we couldn't figure out what was going on.
Right.
So it was this, or.
Yeah, because what's happening is it's taking all of the codes. This is my understanding. It's taking all of those different files and extracting the code and putting it into one file. We've got that enabled. And then we add a new file to the website, which is this new banner and new footer we're designing, a new pop-up for this church training. And that has not been incorporated into the settings here. And so you have some type of code conflict where those files, the code is not being pulled out of that and put into the single file. So it's not loading. So you'll notice the stuff that wasn't loading was the background and the font. And that is this right here, the CSS, that's the style. So something, it hadn't updated and included those new files. So I had to turn this off, then save the stuff, then come back and turn it on, and it worked fine because it incorporated the new files into that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So in the future,
yes.
Should you then anytime you add like a widget or add like a banner or something, just automatically go over here, turn it on, turn it back off again?
Exactly.
Or whatever. Yeah.
You're spot on. Yeah.
Cool.
And that's not convenient. And that's one thing. It's like, now it's a little harder to have people in the website doing actual design work, because now it's like, well, I got to explain this little idiosyncrasy, this little unique quirk about the website.
Right.
But it is what it is. Like, this thing speeds the website up so much, it's crazy. So, and again, Google is going to rank you higher if you have a fast speed. So anyway, so we've got combining the CSS files and minifying those CSS files. Now, coming down, JavaScript, these are the heaviest ones. So I'm not combining the JavaScripts, but we're minifying those JavaScripts, or removing the white space. We're loading deferred. So that's lazy loading the JavaScript. Great. And then delay JavaScript as it improves performance of JavaScript files. Oh, so this delays the actual use of the job. So yeah, it's going to load the JavaScript last, but this is even further saying it's only going to load JavaScript of these certain things until people actually use it. So for example, Stripe, I don't know why, but Stripe always loads with the page, and I have no idea why, because I don't have Stripe on the website. I don't think. Like, there's no reason. Stripe is the payment platform. There's no reason Stripe needs to load for someone to use the page. That's not even, I don't even know how it's in there. It's connected with like the ebook download, because you pay like whatever, $5 for the ebook or something. But there's no reason it needs to load for people to use the page, you know? So when they interact with it, then it will load. That's what this says. And so, for example, Google Ads, no, I don't want them to have to interact with that for it to load. I just need that to work. Google AdSense, we don't even have that. Google Analytics, Google Maps, not relevant. Google Optimize, I don't even know what that is. Google reCAPTCHA, Google Tag Manager, HubSpot, we don't have. I don't know what Refari is. Reviews.io, don't have that. Typekit, don't have that. So all this other stuff I don't even have, but Stripe's relevant. So, and then plugins, do I want to wait on some of these plugins to load before, wait for someone to interact with a plugin before it loads. Well, I do not want to mess with Elementor. That's crazy. Google Tag Manager for WordPress, that's Google Tag Manager. I don't want to mess with that because I need all the tracking to work. And SiteKit is also the tracking. That's where we put in the account IDs for like analytics tracking, Google Tag Manager tracking, Google Ads tracking. Don't want to touch that. So we're leaving those alone. And there we go. We're going to save changes. We didn't change anything, but we'll just save that. And again, we want to, since, we did kind of play around here a little bit. What we're going to do, so you can see here, is let's actually go and load ClickMill. Oops. Refresh. And then we're going to inspect the website. And we're going to go ahead and inspect, and we're going to go ahead and do a performance measure page load speed. And then we're going to change the setting and see what happens. And if it's faster, we'll keep it. And that's a split test, by the way. That's a type of SEO split test. We're just going to tweak some settings on the JavaScript and see what happens. So we got a 1.93% load speed, which is great. Largest content paint, also 1.93. So that's really good. That's great. But let's just see if we go in here. So let's say we're right around 2 seconds. We've done it twice. One was like 2 point something, and we got 1.93. Let's say we come in here with this eliminates render blocking, CSS on your website, only method. Okay, I don't know what that does. I'm not going to play with that. Let's click. Can I click this? Let's undo this, undo this. Let's go ahead. Ooh. Okay, so it's going to say this can jack up your website. So make sure you're okay with that. So we got to make sure we know what we're doing. Activate that. Combine JavaScript files. So again, don't know if this is going to work. I'm going to enable that and enable this. So we're going to enable all of them, and Stripe's still enabled. So we're going to combine those JavaScript files and see if that makes any difference, and see if we just blow up the website, because it could happen. Let's also look. CSS optimize CSS delivery, eliminates render blocking. I don't know what render blocking is. CSS on your website. Only one method can be selected. Remove unused CSS is recommended for optimal performance. Remove unused. I don't know what that does, but hey, we'll give it a shot. I haven't actually tried it like this before. I've done some different tests, but I haven't actually done this. So this is going to be new for both of us. Okay, so there we go. It will not let me do both of these at the same time, actually. I apparently cannot have combine the CSS files into one at the same time. And I actually happen to know that's very effective. So I'm going to keep that, and we'll just test it the way we've got. Okay, here we go. We got to reselect, activate, set, activate. There we go. And what do we've got? JavaScript. So it won't let me do those at the same time, apparently. Let's try it. This is the test here. I want to see if combining them, if it will allow me to do that at the same time as minifying, removing the white space. And we'll try that. Let's see if that saves properly. So you'll notice there are some fail safes built into this program, so we don't blow up our own website, which could still happen, but at least they got something in here. Okay. All right. Let's see 1, 2, and 1, 2. Cool. All right. Now we're going to come back over here. We're going to go. There we go. We're redoing it. Let's see if it loads. This feels like it's taking a lot longer.
Yeah.
Buffer. You know what we're going to do? We're going to actually start at the same, just to double check here, because that something doesn't feel right there. Clickmill.co. We're just going to make sure we click the same button so we get the same result. Remove any irrelevant stuff. Performance. Measure load speed. All right, there we go. Yeah, see, it seems like it feels longer than the first time. 1.92. Very similar. Let's do one more thing. I'm just thinking in my head, maybe we can pull off load JavaScript deferred. Let's see if we can just get one of them. See if it'll let us change that. It did. Okay. Let's see if I can get the other one. See if I can squeeze that in there. I don't know if it's an issue saving or if it actually keeps us from, yeah, there you go. Once I select the delay, it won't let me select that. So let's do this. Minify JavaScript, accept that one, load deferred, save, and that should work, I think. Yeah, it appears to know that there's a possible conflict with certain things. So we're going to come back here, start recording, measure page load. Okay, here we go. Any questions on this so far?
In the top right corner, next to the little exit sign, it has like a little X with 4 and then a hazard sign with the number 10 next to it. What does that mean?
Good question. I have no idea. Dev tools failed to load source map. That's Google Developer Tools. Error blocked by client Chrome extension. I don't know, some kind of Chrome extension error. Oh,
Gotcha.
that's one of these up here. So something got blocked. I don't know exactly what, but it's not really a big deal. It doesn't look like. Okay, so that's longer, 2.58 seconds. So don't like that. That's noticeably longer. That's
Yeah.
So we're going to remove that actually. And then what we're going to do is, what was the other thing? Optimize. Okay, we're going to take this off and then we're going to try both of these again and see what we end up with here. Maybe. See, it's interesting. The other day I had this thing loading at like 0.4 seconds. It was crazy. I had to take it off and now I'm trying to put it back on and find the best combination. So, we'll go ahead here. So we've got that on there now. Measure load speed again. Another thing we can do is go to page load speed, and we can come over to Google Page Speed Insights. I use this one because 1, it's free, and 2, they are harsh. Click mill.co. And this is going to basically access it in the same tool, more or less. But you'll notice here we got 2.25 now. So it looks like it's just fluctuating a little bit. Nonetheless, so desktop, and see, it's saying 3.6 seconds, which just seems super long. First content paint, 3.6. Nonetheless, it's still giving us very good. No, there it is. See, I don't understand what it's doing. Oh, latest 28-day collection period. Interesting. Down here, the first content paint was 1 second. That looks more correct, right? Largest content paint was 1.6. And so it's saying your SEO is on point at 90. This is just Google telling us this. So this is really good.
That's great. That's
because this is, you want to get it right from the horse's mouth, you know? So it's like Google's saying we got good SEO. I'm going to listen to them. And you can break this out. So if you go to SEO and you got a bad score, links do not have descriptive text, links found. Okay, cool. Well, that's actually our drop-down menu, and it actually does have descriptive text. So anyway, but if this was not the case, then we should go in and add descriptive text to those links. But it'll tell you the SEO things that you're not working, and this is usually technical stuff, right? Anyway, so that is the SEO. Where did it go? There we go. Best practices, don't know what that is. It's just 100, so cool. Background and foreground colors do not have a sufficient contrast. Heading elements are not in a sequential descending order. So basically that's not like header 1, header 2, header 3. It sounds like there's maybe like a header 1, header 3, or normal text header 2 or something like that. So the page structure seems a little off maybe at some point.
You could do this for the Hawaiian website.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah. And it'll break it down. Accessibility, that's how easy it is to navigate. Performance, this is the page speed basically. And so you'll notice 1.1. It's saying, and this is what I'm saying, Google's like super harsh because it's saying we have a moderate page load speed at 1.1 seconds, which is insane. That's super fast. So, you know, is that where things are going to go? Yeah, absolutely. Google is going to try to get people to get their sites loading as quickly as possible. And that's why they do that, even though that's super fast. Most websites won't load that fast. Now, mobile, different story. Performance, mobile slow. And that's because people's mobile does not usually have. You'll notice these are still great, but the load speed's slower. We got a 4-second content paint on mobile. And one of the things that I would like probably for both you and Sophie to start learning mobile design. So learning Elementor, but also learning Elementor for mobile. I actually don't know how to do it. And I have videos. I mean, I have an idea of how to do it and I've tweaked some things, but getting you guys some experience on that would be great. Now, what's this? It says resources are blocking the first paint of your page. Consider delivering critical JavaScript, CSS in line and deferring all non-critical JS styles. JavaScript and CSS styles is CSS. Okay, so this has to do with render blocking. So we just read a thing about render blocking. What is this? Maybe we can just fix it. Render blocking resources are portions of code in website files, usually CSS and JavaScript, that prevent a web page from loading quickly. These resources take relatively long time for the browser to process. Okay, so what is that? Let's go back over here and let's just go F render. Here we go. Can I do all three, please? Remove unused, load CSS asynchronously. Generates critical path CSS and loads CSS asynchronously. What is CSS async and synchronous? Oh my gosh, loading. I don't even know how to spell that. Refers to downloading and applying a page resources in the background independently of other resources. Okay, so interesting. Kind of know what that means now. Okay, yes, remove unused CSS. Let's try asynchronous and let's see if it will save with that. And maybe that will bypass these render blocking tools, which again, that's like JavaScript stuff. All those things take a really long time to load. Okay, so interesting. We can do that. Let's go back and let's try it one more time and see if that actually did anything. And we can also run this for My Hawaiian as well and see.
Now, my question with this would be, is this live results right now? Because earlier it showed the past 28 days.
Yes,
so...
this shows the path, and this is still here. See, latest 28-day period.
Yeah.
But notice this one down here is from right now. So this is these are the right now results. Still 4 seconds. I don't remember how much that was, but I feel like maybe it dropped a tiny bit. And eliminate render block.
I feel like it was like 4.2 or something like that.
Yeah, so maybe it's a little shorter. So that doesn't seem to be super effective, at least not in any meaningful way. Let's see if we can go here, activate, update. Okay, see, it turned that off. So it's no longer going to do that. So let's run that one more time and see if that's higher than, say, a 57. Okay. Yeah, so you notice this really isn't changing because this is our 28-day, Google crawls our website, and this is where it logs a lot of the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this is really technical. Not a lot of people use this, but if you just read the problems it says, see 52, that's better. See that? So we actually dropped a fair bit there. Question is, did it mess up with our mobile? No, it actually got a little bit better. We went from 93 to 94 that way. So 0.9 seconds. Look at that. We got it under 1 second for the first content paint. So that's better. This was as high as like 60 at some point. So I'm not exactly sure. But to that end, I am definitely going to want to get into here how this is adding 2.28 seconds. It says remove unused CSS and load JavaScript deferred. I feel like we're doing that. Remove unused CSS. Let's try that. Let's see. There we go. That's what we just did, and that got us a little better. Load JavaScript deferred. Okay, so we're using both of those settings it's recommending, and it's still kind of heavy. So looking in here, right, what is in here that's taking a long time? Well, let's look. Theme.css, so that's some type of theme we're using, which you can't really get rid of that. Checkout. So we got a checkout loading apparently. Block library 2021 style front end something. I don't know what any of this stuff is. Google fonts. So we have a custom font. So that's something we could get rid of the custom font and that would cut out 760 milliseconds, you know? So maybe that's something, Google fonts. But that's the font for the whole website. So we would need to find a replacement that's native to the website. So we could cut out a little time there. Thought about that. Anyway, ensure text remains visible during web front load. Google font. So it's saying in the 20 milliseconds right here that it takes that font to load. You're not going to see any fonts. So make sure that there's a font there. So, you know, changing the primary font on the website could be something we do to cut out, optimize that just a little bit. That's also just a huge pain in the butt because we'd have to go over every single page of the website to make sure we got it all. Okay, so here you'll notice third-party code can significantly impact load performance. Stripe. So you'll notice 507 milliseconds. I think that's a half a second. I'm not really sure. Rocket CDN. Okay, so Rocket CDN, 0. So that's not really affecting anything. Google Fonts, essentially 0 milliseconds. So really, Stripe loading is a problem. So maybe that's something we take off at some point. So it tells you all the things you would need to do to speed this up. I mean, we're under a second, so it's not a huge deal. But if we were going to focus on some technical SEO, we would be doing page performance of the mobile version of the site. Okay. And that is also where that mobile optimization comes into. Any questions on that?
Nope.
Okay. So that is a basic rundown on technical SEO page speed. Now, continuing. So one thing we want to test in that thing is just run a page speed test, do maybe through Google Insights and do it through the developer tools right on the web page. Next thing, as we're looking here, just kind of see how we're doing. This is totally irrelevant. We had a really good day yesterday. We got over 360 hits and we were ranking 19 on ClickMail. So that is solid. Also, if you're writing this week, I'd actually like to shift you over to ClickMail. If you're open to that, would you like to write some stuff for ClickMail?
What you got in mind?
I have a keyword plan. You're welcome to peruse.
Cool. Send it over.
All right. We'll get you hooked up with that. Okay. Anyway, here is other more technical SEO things. Okay. So sitemap, you need a sitemap. Are you familiar with what a sitemap is?
Yes, I think so.
So clickmail.co/sitemap.xml. This is basically just a list of URLs that are in the website that Google's spider bots crawl to see your whole website. Okay. And it helps the Google, you know how we talk about topical maps and you've got this top page and then you've got the page, the main pages, the sales pages, and then you've got all the blog topics and all that.
Yeah.
It helps Google to see the structure of your website. So this is a sitemap. You'll see we've got a few of them in here. Authors, tags. There's quite a few. You got quizzes, courses, whatever, all this stuff. Posts. You know, there's our post sitemap. So let's just say I click on that. Here are all the posts on ClickMail, and it tells me all the images on there. There's 60 in the Google Grant Guide, which is a lot, but that makes sense because it's a very long article. Church growth scriptures. Like this whole post only has one image. So this can just tell me we need to update some of this stuff. Anyway, to that end though, this tells us images, but these are all the links. So what we want is we want to take this link right here, and this is already done for ClickMail, obviously, but we drop it right in here and Google knows, oh, look, you have 78 posts on your site. Cool. And so instead of having to hunt for individual pages, it just accesses the sitemap and it sees if there's any new pages and then it indexes you. So that speeds up often the rate at which, you know, you're showing up there. And let me see, I don't know how to remove these because I actually accidentally re-indexed some of these. So we've got 2 post sitemaps, but whatever. So we want to make sure we have sitemaps. If you need to, you can actually remove stuff, outdated content. Okay, so you can go in here and say new request to remove stuff. And we can actually do this. We have tons of stuff I want to remove. and then no index it, like lessons through the courses. Like we have like 300 lessons. I don't want it crawling those because Google's going to not want to come back because, you know, there's nothing there for Google to see. So we can come in here and, you know, go through all the links and see what we don't want it and remove them. Video pages is going to tell us, you know, 2 no indexed videos. So this is also technical SEO. Google is removing, says video not found on host service, video outside the viewport. So that's not good. So it's not showing 2 videos because the viewport is the screen, probably on mobile. The video is not showing up even inside the screen. So that's a problem. And we could just see which page, which videos. Category church growth. Interesting. So there's some kind of church growth video here. YouTube. We can copy it. We can see which video it is that's showing up outside the viewport. Church growth training video welcome 1. Wow. This is the video that we're using on the banner on everything on our whole website. So that's a problem because if that's showing up outside the screen, let's say on an iPhone, yeah, we're getting a 2%, 3% conversion rate, but 30% of our website users are using an iPhone. So we could bump that a whole bunch if we fix that. So that's actually a big issue, you know? So that's more of a website optimization than SEO, but you do get deranked for that. So those types of things. So sitemaps, removals. Okay, page experience. Oh, it actually gives me stuff now. Okay, so mobile usability overall is good. You know, our website is automatically what's called responsive, meaning to the response to the size of the device screen. So overall, it's going to be good. HTTPS, good. We have secure socket layer in there. But Core Web Vitals, we have 76 failing elements. So here we go with more technical stuff that Google is going to say we need improvements. We don't have anything that's poor, but we do have an increased number of things needing improvement. And they all appear to be the same exact thing. Longest content paint, longer than 2.5 seconds on desktop. That is what it is saying is an issue. And if Google says it's an issue, then it's probably an issue because, you know, they're the ones sending us the traffic. So let's go back. And actually, I don't remember. It said longer than 2.5 seconds. Let's pull that back up and let's see if we resolve that, because if it is, we'll tell it we verified the fix. Inspect. And I thought it was floating right around 2 seconds. Performance. Measure. If it's floating around 2, we'll be fine. And I'll just say validate fix. 2.07, 2.07 largest content paint. Great. So we're just going to go right back over to Google Search Console and we're going to say validate fix. Okay. So validation started. So Google's going to go crawl those pages and see if it's under 2.5. And if it is, it's going to update the algorithm and tell us, hey, great. Now, specifically, it looks like URLs affected 76. Yeah. All those blogs are saying it takes longer. 76 URLs are taking longer. The sermon topics page, which is our best performing page on the entire website, takes 3 seconds. So maybe we actually want to check in on that and see where we're at on sermon topics and see if our updates actually fixed anything. It may not have, because this thing's huge. So let's go here. Let's go inspect. And we're going to go to performance and we're going to go to measure. Any questions on any of this as we're waiting?
No, not really.
Okay.
It makes sense. I'm following along.
Okay.
It's a lot to take in, a lot to remember, that's for sure.
Yeah. And you notice it said 3 seconds. This is loading in about 3 seconds.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a little bit longer than Google wants. Now, I mean, this is a massive post.
Yeah, it's huge.
It's going to be tough. Join our 1 hour. Oh my gosh. Are you kidding me? Okay. So one thing I'm going to have to do actually is I'm going to have to go into these banners. See this? Join our 1 hour church growth training, all this stuff. I'm going to have to
Yeah.
actually go in and fix that. That's a problem on the website because this is a header too. So it's automatically getting put into the, oh, wow.
And the
Into the table of contents, right?
yeah.
So little oversight on my part. These didn't seem to actually load correctly, which is a
You might
problem.
want to check all the blogs then for that.
They'll all have that problem because I'll tell you why, because I haven't actually told you this. There we go. Okay, so they're loading right. It was just because I switched up the page title. Got that a little weird. What am I doing right now? Oh yeah. So 3 seconds, how do we get this page load under 2 seconds? Shoot, I don't even know. Because we can't take text out, and we can't take the banners out. That's our sales. That's our whole sales process. There's a big picture back here, but what are you going to do? Have a grainy picture up there? There's a limited number of things we can optimize in this post, but nonetheless. Anyway, yeah, so watch this. You know what? I'm going to reopen that. Reopen, close tab. Here we go. Okay, so this is how we'll fix that. So what we're going to do, and I'll briefly tell you what I did. I went in, because you know how we've got these banners, right? And if we want to do a new split test across the whole website, because we did free Google Ads accounts. Remember we tried that one? Okay, so we got 3 leads out of 8,000 website hits, and the leads were very qualified. We got meetings with 2 of them, so that's a really high rate. I mean, the numbers are low, but the leads were really good leads, but the conversion rate was way too low. So not working. Ebooks, we get like what, couple 5 a week, 6, 7 a week, maybe 1 a day, something like that. And that's not terrible. That's like half a percent conversion rate is really low, but we're getting leads. But the problem is they don't really sign up for services. That's just not quite far enough. Like an ebook to paying $500 a month is a big leap in terms of conversions, right? So that next one's too far away and they're not taking it. So it's not doing us anything. It's still a waste. So we're trying you saw the new one, the Join Our 1 Hour Church Growth Training?
Yep.
So I designed that and I was like, how do I do this without trying to update every time we do this? Because we got 8,000 hits a month now, and that'll presumably continue to go up. How do we update these instantly across the whole website without having to have, poor Josh over there go? I've actually got Sophie doing it right now, but go. I did 30, but I did 60 of the blogs and she's doing 20. So I did my part, but it's like nobody wants to go through and update the short codes through every single blog. That's miserable. So I had ChatGPT. It said, I'll just make you a plugin. So we got a plugin, and you'll see here, plugins, nope, settings, custom banner. ChatGPT coded me a custom plugin for the website. And all we do is we get the banner template and stick it right in there, and it will update footers on the website. I went and customized the website so that the actual banner is in the footer. So I put the short code for the banner in the footer, and it'll update the footer on the bottom of the website. It will update the banners all through all the blogs and the banner at the top of the blog template immediately and instantaneously. So anytime we want to switch that, we just come in here. New split test is instant. Super awesome. But to that end, let's go ahead and let's fix our template. Save templates. And we're going to come in here, edit with Elementor. And all I'm going to do is just make that, say, a header 3, or because that's not in the, what am I saying? The header 3s are not in the header 2, header 3, and it doesn't change the text. So we're going to update that. And now what I'm going to do is to double check to make sure that updates properly is I'm going to go, there we go. I'm going to come back over to our new plugin here. Where did it go? What did I do? Plugins? Yep. Nope. Users. Oh my gosh. What did I do? Settings. There it is. Custom banner. And I am just going to delete that out, drop it right back in, save changes. And then we should see the updated banner. We're just going to refresh the page, and that will take effect site-wide. Okay. And if I right click on this and I inspect, we should see header 3, H3 right there. Okay. And then when we go up to the table of contents, we won't see that anymore.
Nice.
So pretty sweet plugin. ChatGPT is like, I could give you some PHP code and you could edit your primary source files. And I was like, that sounds like a terrible idea. I don't want to do that. And I was like, well, I could make you a plugin. And I was like, why didn't you start there, ChatGPT? Make me a plugin. Make me a plugin. What are you sitting around for? Anyway, that was super cool. I was excited about that. So now we can do split tests very efficiently. But it's okay. So we just fixed that problem. So coming back around, we got a little bit away from that there. But some of these will probably drop below 2 seconds. Some of them won't. You know, it is what it is. You can only go so fast. So that is, I mean, that's basically a SEO quick guide there. I mean, you know, I know that's a little long, but still, that's a pretty fast version for SEO. Another thing you can do with SEO, and this is more like month-to-month SEO. So for starters, you'll notice we got 299 pages in that have been crawled but not indexed. That's all those course pages I told you about. And I don't want those on the internet. So good. And they're all no indexed. And you'll see these are all the reasons why pages can't be indexed, by the way. 134 online. Great. 128 are discovered and currently not indexed. Crawled and currently. We got 67 pages that have been crawled and not indexed, but that's a problem. Let's see. Okay, lesson, don't care. That's fine. Church marketing online is not indexed. That's a problem. Lesson, that's fine. Like all the lessons, most of this is going to be lessons because I told it not to index them. Courses, lessons. Yeah, so all this stuff basically just needs to be removed because it's just clogging stuff up. So basically there's one in here that, oh, there we go. What's this? Fresh ideas for church growth. Feed. Okay, so if it's got a feed, it's not really relevant either because that's not how we structure our URLs. So that's fine. But you'll notice in here, you've got 404s. If you got a 404 redirect, that's actually a problem. So what is it that we have? Church Recession 2. Okay, well, we don't have a Church Recession 2. We actually had a duplicate, if you remember a long time ago. It indexed Church Recession 2. And then we switched it over. We deleted the 2 and got rid of the duplicate blog. So that's not even there anymore. So we're just going to copy that and go have that removed. I assume that's how you do that. But like lessons, don't care. Courses, post type. Apparently someone had a post called, you know, post equals 2199, which is just how Elementor assigns those. And then it indexed it. And then we changed the URL over here. Top 12 Christian internships to blah, blah, blah. This whole long thing. I wrote that and apparently it was posted and they indexed it for that. And then I changed it to Christian internships. And, you know, that's not a huge deal. The main thing you don't want is you don't want to have a blog that's ranking like a year and a half and it's ranking number 1 and then you change the URL because you'll just tank your site. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah, for sure. How's that top 12 Christian internship thing working out for you though?
Yeah, let's look.
That's been good. I mean,
let's see. Remove this URL only. I do not want to group them. Remove all URLs with this prefix. I don't know what that means. HTTPS. Let's not do that. Next, so I'm just going to use this, remove this URL only, submit request, and that's going to get rid of that because it doesn't exist. And so we can go through and really clean this up, which I'm sure we'll do at some point. Outdated content, search, whatever. Okay. So you can see, anyway, I'm not even doing what I'm saying I'm doing. Let me see. Performance, go back in here. There we go. Okay. So let's look at this and let's look at pages. So this is the last 3 months. And one of the things we can do for SEO optimization is we can look at these numbers, right? The numbers tell us a story. Let's just look at the top 10. And we know, have you seen the Google search rankings for average click-through rate for Google search rankings? Have we done that?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to say click-through rate, CTR, for Google rank. Okay. And then this will kind of give you an idea here. The higher up you rank on Google, the higher you expect your click-through rate to be. And I like this one. This seems most accurate to the articles I've read. You get about 30% click-through rate if you rank 1. So if there's 1,000 searches a month, you're going to get 300 of them, 333, something like that. Then it drops to 15%, then it drops to 10, then it drops to 8, blah, 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 blah. Around rank 10, you're going to get a 2%, maybe 11, 12 rank, you're going to get about a 2% click-through rate. I would say anything ranking 2 to 2.5% is a really, really functional article. It's doing really good because it basically means it's on page 1 of Google. So when we know rank 10 is somewhere about 2.5%, we can start estimating some performance averages, kind of baselines on these. So for example, this guy, Sermon Topics, ranks 10.5. So just a little bit under page 1 of Google. It's like half on page 1, half on the top of page 2, 5.7. That, at least by the numbers that we just saw, should be closer to 2 to 2.5. So that's doing great. Don't touch that. Our click-through rate is way higher than it probably should be. We're ranking almost 12 here, women's ministry ideas, and we're getting a 5.4% click-through rate. Don't touch that. We're ranking 13 with a 10% rate. Remember, rank 10 is 2.5% click-through rate on average across industries. So that's awesome. 4.8 for 11, great. 4.1 for 11, great. 3.8 for rank 23 is nuts. Rank 23 is way below rank 10 at a 2.5% click-through rate. We got 3.8. So that's crushing it. Don't touch that. 15.6, 2%. Still really good. That seems right. That seems balanced and normal. What we're looking for is high impressions and super low click-through rate. So like this right here, for example, how to share the gospel. It ranks 20 and it has a 1.3. That seems normal, right? If 2.5 is rank 10 and you're at rank 20, 1.3 would seem to be okay. Now, here is something we could probably do better with, and this is the Google Ad Grant. We have 24,000 impressions a month, every 90 days, and we're only getting a 0.4% click-through rate. And it's ranking 51. So that right there is a big red flag that we could optimize that. We could optimize the click-through rate if we could try now. 0.4% at page 51 actually seems pretty good. How do we get that up? What is dragging that down? Was it keyword targeted? We go do an SEO audit on that page and pump it up. Now, as it turns out, I happen to know that that page is like one of the oldest pages on our website, and the content is old and outdated. So we need to go through it, update it, and just refurbish the whole thing. So that is a potential room to optimize there. Church, so we're looking at the click-through rate versus the rank and the impressions. You know, if it's got like 10 impressions a month, like I don't even care, you know, whatever. But 15,000 with Google Grant Guide at a 0.6 and ranks 53. Well, 0.6 is a high click-through rate for 53. 15,000 impressions is not nothing. Let's go see what's up with this page, because I'm pretty sure we're going to know what's up as soon as we open it. And you'll see. Boom. Okay. Oh, this is the long one that needs to be updated. Excuse me. So let's go back. So this one needs a full overhaul. I'm getting them mixed up. We have two. This is Google Ad Grants. Let's see what that is. And let's go. That's not right. Ah, I missed it. Let's try that one more time. There we go. Okay, so we're going to pop this page open. Let's see what this is. Google Ad Grants, 15 massive mistakes to avoid. Okay, so, you know, looking this page over, this page gets a lot of impressions. I'm actually surprised at how many impressions this gets. I thought this was the bigger page. This page is small compared to that one I just pulled up. 100 clicks. We're getting 33 hits a month on this, which, you know, it's okay. It's ranking 51, 24,000 impressions in 90 days. So 0.4 click-through rate. So we got to look through this one. We got to see like how could this be better? Too many hands in the cookie jar. That's to say Google Ad Grants, too many hands in the cookie jar. Google Ad Grants, entering billing information. This is outdated. This is not accurate anymore. I got to take that out and update that. Going it alone. None of this stuff is keyword targeted. You notice this is one of the first articles I ever wrote. We could boost this up real quick. And it's already getting a fair amount of of traffic, 130 clicks a month, and we haven't updated this in years. That's not bad. But if we go in here, edit with Elementor, okay, blog template, strategy session, ministry 1 hour. Come on. Ugh, what is this? What blog is this? Now you'll notice here also the banners not updated to the most recent banner. So that's something we're definitely going to, I think Sophie's actually doing that now. But to that end, Google ad grants. Okay. So I'm going to exit that. I'm going to come into the back of the website and let's just look posts. And I'm just going to go Google Ads, Google Strategy, Graphic Google Grant. Okay. So these should be, hopefully it's categorized under Google Grant as well, because that could be a issue. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So now we're looking for a quick edit. Google Grant Guide is not it. Massive mistakes. There we go. Google Ad Grants. Okay. So we're going to edit this one. We're going to take a peek in here and let's look at the meta title and the meta description. I'll bet you they stink because like I told you, I haven't been in here as far as I remember. So it is happy. So that's something, but let's look. Google Ad Grants. Okay. So we do have the keyword in here. Google Ad Grants is the keyword. 15 massive mistakes to avoid 2023. Google Ad Grants mistake 1, too many hands in the cookie jar. Google. Okay. So this is actually looks really good. So that's fine. So we really probably don't need to update that. So it's probably got more to do with the actual titles in the, the pages here. So what we should do is come here, Google. What we should do is maybe, and this is going to make it kind of long, which I'm not a big fan of. Might be why I didn't do this, or maybe I just didn't know. Mistake 1. Right. And that is how we should probably be formatting this throughout. Too many hands in the cookie jar. And then, boom, Google Ad Grants mistake 2. And so now we are going to have that Google Ad Grants throughout. And this, I need to come back and update. But here we go. We're just going to go ahead. Google Ad Grants mistake 3, colon. So this is a huge SEO update to this article. So this is again, looking at the technical SEO kind of helped us to identify an on-page SEO issue, right?
Yeah.
Any questions on this?
Nope.
Okay. You feel like you maybe know SEO a little bit better?
Yeah, learning this technical side of things, I didn't even really know anything at all about that. So this is good. This has been good.
Good.
I was listening to a video earlier today where somebody was talking about SEO and they were talking about off-page SEO, which would be obviously technical.
Right.
And I had no idea what that was. I was like super clueless. I was like, what are you guys talking about?
Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure that's just what we're talking about.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and just finish this real quick. I don't think there's a lot more. 8. There we go. Okay. Some of this stuff is automated now. Like you don't have to check for low quality keywords anymore because Google just automatically paused them. So it's more like check to see if Google paused low quality keywords. So some of the stuff could just be updated a little. Failing to follow up. Google, yeah, whatever. Okay. So we're just going to probably leave the rest of this. I don't want to like overdo it. So it's a little awkward because it's only done. See, key phrase and subheading, more than 75% of your header 2s and 3s reflect the topic. So now it's saying, there's too much, but whatever. We'll see. So now if we were actually like writing this down, which we probably should be, SEO optimization test for this blog in, let's say, our Excel sheet of blogs or something. And then we would come back in a week, look at it, 2 weeks, look at it, see if it's increasing or decreasing. And that's a split test. And we would basically say, okay, do we roll back those changes or do we keep them? Is it doing better? Okay. So in all likelihood, it's doing better. This will do better, but you never know. Okay. So that is training on Google what am I saying? Search engine optimization. So what you want to do with Williamsburg Christian Academy, and we'll go in here, and what I'm going to do in ClickUp, and for anybody watching this, we'll just have this down in client work templates. I'm going to make a template, and Josh, I'll show you how to duplicate this so you can check this stuff off. But we're going to make a template, new task, and we're going to say SEO AU audit, and we'll do website SEO audit. Okay, save. What's it doing? Okay, and here we're going to add a subtask. There we go. So we want to also, let me just totally go off on a tangent here. You can open up SEMrush. Josh, you've been in here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's just look up WILLIAM Williamsburg Chris. What is it? Oh my gosh. They have a crazy, they've got like 5 websites. It's nuts. They are all over the place. Okay. Search. It's one thing about the academic world is things don't have to be complicated, but they just perceive correctness being uber complicated because the ideas are so complicated. It's interesting reflection. Anyway, domain overview here. That's what we want. So we want the domain overview, and this is going to give us a pretty good understanding of the website in total here. Lots of SEO. They had a 21 authority score. You know what that means, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. They have 613 estimated. This is rough. Estimated hits a month. That's low. That's not good. That means they do not have enough blogs. They are not pulling in enough traffic there at all. If you think about conversion rates and you get 1% of 613, you're getting 1 lead. You're getting 6 leads a month. And if they got 3%, 6 times 3, they're getting 18 leads a month max. And based on the look of their website, they're probably getting 0, right? Which is why they hired us, because their website's not conversion optimized to convert at all, let alone at 1% or 3%. So that is super low organic traffic. They're not paying for ads. You can see in the past right here, this little yellow line, they did get a little paid traffic. I happen to know they've spent $32,000 in the lifetime of their ads account, which, really is probably not that much. But anyway, you can see where they rank. Do they have any ranks 1s to 3s? 4. So out of 1,000, so out of 1,000 keywords they're ranking for on their website, they only rank top 3 for 4. That's not that good. Rank 4 to 10, only 5. That's not that good, right? Our average ranking at ClickMail is 19 to 22. So basically half of it is above 20 and the other half is below 20. So you can see they are way ranking 21 to 100 disproportionately. They've got above 20, they've got 60, and below 20 they have 1,000. That's not good. So we can already tell they need SEO help there. So keyword targeting is probably a major issue, which it is on their site. They don't have keywords. They're ranking by chance. Also, like most Christian organizations, they're really good at branding their name. Top organic keywords: Williamsburg Christian Academy, position 1, 590 searches a month. Okay, so that's actually good. They're ranking for their name, right? Williamsburg Christian Academy School, WCA, blah, blah, blah. But if you go down here, they're going to rank for their name probably, and then everything else is going to be really low. Something to that effect. So here we go. We're loading. Here we go. Williamsburg News. 70 people actually search that every month. That's shocking. Oh, that's the town Williamsburg. So they rank position 70. No. Oh, okay. There we go. I got to make this position 1 here. We're organizing by position. 99. Let's go the other way. There we go. Okay, so Williamsburg, so they're ranking 1, and now you'll notice they rank 1 for picture and links. They rank 1 for maps. No, what is that? Position. Doesn't say position, but they have a local pack search engine, the map pack search engine results feature. They're featured on that. They've got site links, apparently ranking position 2 for Christian school interview questions. Sorry, give me 1 second.
Yep.
Oh, okay. That was a while ago. All right. So we can come down. So you can actually see where they rank for a lot of this stuff. WCA school, my WCA. You know, are there any of these valuable for new leads, right? So, I mean, maybe, you know, like their name, that's valuable. That's good. They're getting 78% of the traffic share for their own name. That's good. And that seems to be totally organic. That's great. But coming down further, private schools in Williamsburg, Virginia, they rank 8. How many private schools could be in Williamsburg, Virginia? That is not that good. We probably want to work on that. It's only a 30. I mean, it's not low, but it's not high either. Mm-hmm. Hopefully we could do better than that. Williamsburg private schools, we got a picture there, but they're ranking 9 for Williamsburg private schools. That's also not good because that is their bread and butter, and that is a consumer commercial intent right there. People are paying money and they're not on the top. That's a problem. Yeah. Williamsburg Academy, if people are searching for their names, they already know them, so they're going to get that. We're looking for things where it's like, you know, private school, Williamsburg, stuff like that. And you notice we don't even really have that many. Clubs, yeah. Visas, swimming, like where are all the keywords like we have at ClickMail, where it's like sermon prep for pastors, you know, we get the pastors in the door. Where are the things that are like, you know, 10 best Christian schools, Williamsburg, Williamsburg Christian Academy summer camp. These are people who already know them. So, you know, yeah. So anyway, you see what I'm saying? You can come into SEMrush and you can break out their keywords and see, okay, the vast majority of these top keywords are basically worthless. Like live WCA, nobody's buying anything when they look that up, and they rank 17. So, you know, all of their traffic is going to be coming basically from these, and they've got their name, which is good. That's something. And volume 590, I mean, that's basically 80, you know, you talk about the 80-20 rule, 80% of their traffic comes from right there. And all the rest of this is doing nothing. And they, when we look at the important keywords they should be ranking for, private schools, Williamsburg, they're getting less than 0.1% of 70 people. So they get 0 off of this, even though they rank 8. They need to rank number 1 there and bring in more traffic. So that's ads and that's SEO. So that's another way we do site audits. And we say, you need to be ranking for this keyword, this keyword, this keyword. You're not just telling them, you're not ranking for the keywords that are going to bring you new clients. You're only ranking for keywords of people who know you. So you can already see that's a problem. So you can use that. Anyway, coming back over here, let's see what's number 1. Do a keyword audit. Look at their website. You can also use we'll just say SEMrush, just like we just did, and you can start looking at keywords. So we'll do an SEMrush keyword audit. We will do a header 1 keyword audit just for our own knowledge. Do they even have the keyword on the pages, right? You can look at URL keyword audit, because if it's not in the URL, they probably don't even know what a keyword is. So like those types of things, keyword audits. Then we're going to look at, do they have a blog, right? And is the blog keyword targeted? You'll know pretty much when you look at it. If it's like recent events at Williamsburg Christian Academy, you know they don't know what keywords are. They have no idea what. So do they have a blog? You could do page, right? So page load speed, and you can do that. Let's go over to the website. There we go. And so I want you to go through, and I actually want you to do a really full overview of the website. Maybe spend like 40 minutes on the website, really getting in there and really looking. And then maybe 30 minutes on the website, just poking around through all the pages, seeing what you can find that could be better. Then I want you to go into SEMrush, and I want you to do keyword research on, I just closed it. Go into the keyword magic tool and do private school Williamsburg Christian Academy, Williamsburg. What other terms do they call themselves? Boarding school, Williamsburg, day school, Williamsburg. You know what I mean? And find all of those keywords. And then you're just going to make a keyword map, just like we have for, where is it? My Hawaiian Adventure. And you're just going to do this. And you're going to make one of these, except, so this is a keyword plan. So you're going to have maybe a writer, focus keyword, search volume, keyword difficulty, LSI keywords. Just scratch the title because the writers are just doing the titles. I'll probably just remove this actually. This doesn't really matter. Delete column. There we go. URL. Our writers are going to know the URL is just what the URL is. It's always the same. So we're going to delete that column. Content ideas we're going to leave, because if someone does it need to be an ultimate guide? Does it need to be a picture? Like North Shore Oahu map. Well, we need to make a map, right? Make a map. That's the content idea. So we didn't need to have that.
How do you make? I was looking at that the other day, and I was like, I don't know how to, like, how do I make a blog about where everything is at, or is
the maps? See, the map is tough. It's a good keyword, but it also requires like fancy stuff. So we'll probably just save it for later or cut it, one of the two. But when you think about 80-20, 20% of our effort gets us 80% of the results. Sticking with what we've already trained and batching all those together and pumping them out as fast as we can, that's where we get all the results. We could spend a week trying to figure out how to make a map, and there's only 390 searches. Like, it's a decent amount of searches, especially for 12 difficulty. But if we were going to figure out maps, I'd want to see a few more keywords with maps than there are, but we'd want to batch it, train it, and then pump them out just like we do blogs. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Anyway, so Williamsburg Christian Academy, make one of these, tag me in it, and just follow this format. Don't worry about, I don't know who made these super cool, like rearrange the articles based on whatever it is you want. Don't worry about that. Just make a paper with these things. And we want to figure out, the keywords we need to target. And then what we need to do at some point is match the page that we want to use the keyword and overlay that on. So like the homepage, well, that should be Williamsburg Christian Academy, but best private school Williamsburg, we don't have a page for that. So we need to make that page, or maybe the about page could be that, or, so we actually want to map out those. That's called keyword mapping. And then we go into the website and we'll start building those out month over month. And that is what we're getting paid for with our SEO plan. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So how do you feel about that? You feel like that's okay?
Yep, for sure.
Okay. That's a lot, but it sounds like you're feeling fairly comfortable.
Yep.
Okay. Let me go back in here to ClickUp. Page load speed. Make a Excel content, let's say SEO content strategy. Make a SEO content strategy in doc in exe Excel. What am I saying? Google Sheets, tag Brett and Destiny, or we'll say share with Brett and Destiny. Okay, so do that. What am I missing? You're going to do the keyword audit. You're going to do the H1 audit, URLs, and if they don't have blogs, that's it. I mean, we know the things. If you have to actually update a blog that's worth something, you've got to look for your, internal links, external links, images, those types of things you can just kind of keep an eye out for and get a feel for. Page load speed's a big one. And we want to start making an SEO strategy plan for them document. Any questions on that?
Okay, so when I do all this, do you want me to come in this ClickUp thing and
so
add
what
notes?
you can do, if you want this, what you can do is you can just come here, check it like this. So this is a template, right? And I'll actually write template in the title. Okay. And the way you do this is you're going to come in here and you're going to, was that set tag? Nope. Where is it? Hold on. Uncheck, come over here to the 3 dots, I think. There we go. So we're going to say duplicate, and we will just duplicate everything. And we're going to go to current projects, and we're going to duplicate the task into current projects. So you'll see it's copying. And when I go to current projects now, you will see SEO website audit template. We're going to say SEO website audit, and we'll say Williamsburg Christian. Okay. And you know who that is. And I'm going to assign Josh. There you go. And we'll just say due by, we'll say due by Friday. You good with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, what happened? There we go. Due by Friday. That's actually important. So we're going to say that's in fairly urgent. And we'll just say Williamsburg. Oh, that's not a space. Williamsburg Christian. There we go. So client name, Williamsburg. So that's what you're looking for. And that makes sense. You know how to do all that?
Yep.
Okay. And just mark them off as you go through them. And then put the, just, I don't know, mark them off as you do them. And when you finish all of them, come in here. Do you know how all these work?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've done all that.
Sweet. So you're set. That's all we need to do there.
Cool.
Questions for me? Anything else?
When you can you send over that keyword list for the ClickMill website?
Oh, you don't have, oh yeah, you probably don't have access. We haven't really played with that much.
No.
Oh, yes. So, okay. So in regard to that, I'm gonna stop filming.
Okay.
Wow.